Hey TV fans, Board now back with you. On this video I'm going to start Ozark Season 3, so this is the opening episode. The episode is called Wartime, and the wartime refers to the war that gets started between the cartel and a rival cartel, let's say, in Mexico. It all sets off and it starts the birds to wondering if it could impact on them potentially, if they could get caught in the crosshairs, and things are a little hairy for certain people, Helen included. At one point during this episode, she is like literally tortured, waterboarded to make sure her husband doesn't know anything incriminating, because there's like a thing with them where they're going through like a divorce. He shows Helen's like resolve and how tough she is in that scene. She insists he doesn't know anything, but she's there, she takes it. It is the opening of the casino and how that's all gonna work out. And how about this entertaining but super cheesy casino ad?
Feeling lucky? You've come to the right place. Fun in the sun? No problem. Easy. And for those of you who aren't satisfied to just play all day, you can play all night.
Hi, I'm Marty Bird.
And I'm Wendy Bird. If you're gambling on your next vacation, make the smart bet.
Come see us here at the Missouri Bell. We like your odds!
The Missouri Bell Casino is open 24 hours a day,
365 days a year. Come see us in Osage Beach.
I think that it needed more star wipes.
Such a great line from Charlotte there. Great delivery too. That has to be her best line so far up to this point in the show. So as you can see, the casino's going ahead and it's really becoming sort of a family type thing where the kids, at least at the start of this season, are a bit more on board and, you know, sort of chipping in more and more supportive of the parents, because Charlotte, as you see there, is working in the office with Wendy. She's like her sort of PR assistant, so she's quite heavily involved on that side. And Jonah is starting to like do extra sort of schemes for them on the computer. He's starting to, you know, find ways to like launder money online for them, so that's opening up a whole new side. And it's something where I think they're a bit hesitant and worried, or at least Marty is, about his son doing that. But at the same time, yeah, Jonah just thinks he's sort of being quite loyal to them and saying, you know, I want to help you sort of thing. And he's always had this cynical view, or at least for a while he has, about the world and about this stuff is going to go on and I'll earn more money and I can help you out more this way. So that's, I think, been his view for a while. And Wendy, who's a bit more of like the ruthless sort of savage one, is kind of more in favour of it. So that's just the little tidbits. And another sort of funny thing, which is also quite scary, is then Charlotte buys Jonah a drone at one point, which he's like using for security to keep people, like potential enemies, away from the bird's property. Now let's talk a bit about Ruth, because she is so badass in this episode. It may be her at her badass best, because again, she's taken up a key role in running the casino for the birds. And there's this scene early on where the son of Frank, the Chicago mob boss, who of course his men have been involved with, like working on the casino. So Marty, or someone at least, has given his son like a job to like appease him, sort of thing. But they just rub up against each other the wrong way, that being Ruth and like Frank Jr. or whatever he's called, and he really starts irritating Ruth and is quite sleazy and nasty at one point, and Ruth isn't going to take that, so she eventually just snaps and like literally kicks him in the balls and tosses him overboard, because of course it's on like the boat, the casino, and it's sort of one of those things where you're like, oh shit, Ruth, maybe you shouldn't have done that, because obviously his father's like the head of a mob, but at the same time you can't really blame her. He was throwing his weight around. He was kind of being a little bit of a sexist arsehole, so he definitely had it coming. But obviously, like, Marty or someone has a word with that lady. You're putting your life in your hands there, Ruth. But she's totally badass. She sort of stands up to him, and it's a great scene anyway. But it's obviously going to continue this like tense thing with the two of them, and there's some meaty stuff that could come of it, definitely. And you could see maybe Frank putting pressure on Marty and potentially, you know, turning on them if things go south. Now, the big stuff with Wendy in this episode is that she is becoming more and more independent of Marty and is becoming more sort of, you know, free-spirited in doing things without him, and pushing forward with like schemes, and basically treating him as a bit of a doormat, where she's not really listening to his concerns, because she pitches this idea to Helen, I think it is, at one point, where she suggests then the cartel actually make their business in the casino like official, so make it like a proper business. And Marty is against this idea because he says there's too much risks. I mean, if people found out, if the FBI found out, then, you know, it sort of stands out, and it would probably be investigated, and it wouldn't be great news for them. So, and I think Marty's probably right, but at this point Wendy just, you know, sees the potential, and it's almost like a power grab for her. She sees it as a way of getting closer to the cartel, and, you know, maybe in her mind getting more power, more protection. But so she actually goes to meet the cartel leader in Navarro along with Helen, and because Helen goes to Wendy later, because initially I think Wendy backs down and isn't going to do it, but when Helen goes to her later, they then go, you know, to Mexico themselves, and they talk to him and they convince him it's a good idea. So they start to do it. They push ahead with it, even though Marty was against it. And one thing I'll say is then the cartel boss in this series, so it's the new cartel boss after obviously Dale was killed off, is a hell of a lot better than Dale was, to be honest. At times I felt Dale was a little bit one note, a little bit bland. I think this actor and this character seems to have a little bit more about him, a bit more presence and stuff. So, and it's definitely an intriguing like subplot, Wendy getting sort of closer to him, getting closer to the cartel, whereas obviously Marty thought it's probably a better idea to keep their distance. So that's cooking along quite nicely. There's some interesting little tidbits with Wyatt and with Ruth again, because Wyatt has obviously like moved out because of what the reveal and what Ruth told him at the end of last season. And we see him randomly in like this rich person's house at one point, and it turned out then he sort of used the money that Ruth gave him, and he's been living it up in this person's house where they'd be away. But at one point they come back and they catch him. He ends up in jail, and just to show you how stubborn he is and how mad he is at Ruth, he refuses her bail money, doesn't want to be bailed by her. But then what happens is Darlene actually bails Wyatt out because she's there, because she's having like a dispute over something else, which doesn't really sound like Darlene, does it really? But so she bails him out, and she sees an opportunity and offers him work in exchange for him staying with her. So gives him a job, and man, you can see the destructive possibilities here, especially when Ruth gets wind of it. And Wyatt's obviously a very impressionable young guy, and you can definitely see then, I think, Darlene sort of fancies like replacing him with, well, replacing her dead son with him maybe, and it could end up getting a little bit more seedy than that. It wouldn't really surprise me, but again, it's definitely an intriguing sort of plot line. So it's a very strong opening to season 3. The momentum sort of keeps going, and there's definitely lots of potential good plots and intrigue coming out of this casino opening, and different things going on around that with the characters. So that's the start of Ozark season 3. The episode's called Wartime. Let me know your thoughts of this episode in the comments below. Like and subscribe as always. You can share me out on social media. You can also follow some of my other TV reviews. So I've been doing Stranger Things recently. I'm up to season 3 with that. The first season I did with Rachel McDonald, my regular co-host. Second season I did on my own, but I'll be doing season 3 soon in the run up to the new season in May. So that's another big streaming show you can follow my reviews of. Also, speaking of Rachel, me and her do regular top 10 lists that we tend to alterate monthly between film and TV. So our last list that went up was top 10 TV nerds / oddballs. So you can find that list on the video on the channel right now. I'll put it in the description actually at the top of the screen. Also, you can support me on Patreon for some bonus content. So that's patreon.com/broadnow if you want to give me as little as like $1 a month just to help support the channel. But thanks for listening, guys. I'll be back with more Ozark soon. See you later.